Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samahprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Mande Guru Parambaram Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Purana Malayam Karunalayam Namaami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Bhatvyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So we are seeing the 53rd shloka in the last class. We didn't complete it, but we saw the word meanings and we are to see the examples given by Adi Shankara. So he says Upadhi Vilayat. That means the Stula Sukshma Karana Sharira Upadhis Vilayat. And Vilayat where Munihi Vishnoho Vishet, he said, right? So, Vishet means merges, becomes one, or you can say enters. Vishet. And as I said, this is what is called Brahma Nirvanam Richati in the Gita. Nirvana means merger or resolution, amalgamation, becoming one. And then he says Nirvishesham Vishet. It's not that he actually merges part by part or anything. Without any Vishesham, absolute merger, totally merged, right? And here also we must remember, here it's all figurative expression. There is no physical merger as such which happens. So an individual who has overcome all kind of conditional thinking is free from all kinds of desires. Such a person need not worry about anyone or anything in life. He doesn't miss anything. He is full of love and kindness only, compassion for everybody, everything, and also full of joy. Because there is nothing which can disturb him. And he responds to everyone and everything happening around him, but he will not react. So there's a difference between reacting and responding. Most of the times, what we do is reacting, and that's why we get into all sorts of problems. Reacting happens the spur of the moment. It's what we call the knee-jerk reaction, as we say. Somebody says something, immediately you say something else. Whereas responding is what? Whenever you hear or any inputs are coming, take the inputs, ponder over that, then decide what kind of a response should be given to this. Even if the response is going to be little unpleasant for the other person, see how that unpleasant can be conveyed in a pleasant manner. Right? Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. So this is the response. Reaction is, you don't think of any of these things. Just react. I call you a name, you call me 10 names. Not only me, my father, my grandfather, everybody you call names. This is reaction. So this person doesn't react. He responds. Is not jadam. He responds, but reaction is not there. Right? And once he has tasted that superlative happiness, which is only lavalesham, a very tiny bit of the what is that what you can call the total happiness, pure happiness. Even in that happiness, he is so happy. Just imagine if he has to get the total happiness, what will be his condition? We like the billions of happiness joined together, and he is experiencing that. So he is always in the ocean of superlative happiness. And then most importantly, he is not a knower of Brahman. He is Brahman himself. That is what, that Manisha Panchakam I read out in the last class. Brahmavid saha na Brahmavid parantu Brahmaiva bhavati. This sloka basically, as I said, it's a Videha Mukti sloka. But you can say it can apply to a Jivan Mukta also, because once he is a Mukta, and we must always remember there is nothing called Jivan Mukta, Videha Mukta, it's all our superimpositions. He is Nitya Mukta. Once he understands I am Nitya Mukta, then how does it matter whether you apply it in Videha Mukti stage or Jivan Mukti stage? Because at all stage, he is Nitya Mukta. So he is always abiding in the total happiness. And Adi Shankara gives 3 examples, beautiful examples he gives. What are the examples? He says, Jale Jalam, one example. Now here, when the Jale Jalam means water in water. So we have to imagine there is a pot. There is a pot and there is maybe a well water or kupa, tataka, anything or a pond water. Let us take well water, easy, more applicable. So we tie one rope to that pot and put it in the well. The water will get filled in that pot and the pot will go inside the well water, below the well water. Now, can you identify which is well water, which is pot water? What is there is only well water, but some portion of that well water is in that pot. That we may call it by name pot water, but does it change its character as being well water? What is there in the pot is only well water. Now suppose the pot breaks inside that. Can we say the pot water has now merged with well water? Where is the question of merger? It was never different from well water. You can say because of the pot breaking, that water in the pot is now merged figuratively with well water, but there is actually no merger. The pot was always within the well water, and because it was within the well water, it was there. Like that, all the Jivatmas are in the Brahman only. And because it is confined to a body, mind, sense complex, we call it a Jivatma. Otherwise, there is no difference between Jivatma and Paramatma. Because all Jivatmas in Paramatma only, in the one and one Paramatma only. So this is what he says, like Jale Jalam. If, can you call it meaningfully that the pot water has merged with well water? No, you cannot say that. What was there earlier was well water in the pot. Now also that same water is there now in the well. Pot has vanished. That's all. There has been no change in the water is concerned. So this is the first example he gives, Jale Jala. Then the second example he is giving is Vyat Vyomni. Vyat Vyomni. Vyat means Akasha. So here Vyat Vyomni. Vyomni also means Akasha. So what we have to do? Vyat we have to take it as Ghatakasha. Vyomni we can take it as Mahakasha. So earlier also there was, we can say, Ghata Jalam and Kupa Jalam. We can say. So in that case, what happened? This Jalam was Antapurnam Bahipurnam. Purna Kumbha Kumbai Vambare. It was all that well water only everywhere. Similarly, when Ghatakasha, Mahakasha is there, we may call it Ghatakasha because pot space. It is a space occupied within the pot, a Ghatam, which is nothing but a Namarupa. And there is a space outside the pot. So space also Antapurnam Bahipurnam. And suppose the pot breaks, again can we say that that internal space has merged with the outer space? There is the question of merger. Merger, we can use the word only figuratively. There was only one space. Because of the Ghata, it took the shape of the Ghata, but there was no change in its characteristics of the space. Space was space only. Right? So this is the second example he gives. So Ghatakasha yata Mahakashe. We have to read like that, right? So like the Ghatakasha becomes one with the Mahakasha, like the Gata Jalam becomes one with the Kupa Jalam. And third example is another beautiful example. Tejasa, sorry, Tejaha Tejasi. Tejaha Tejasi, he says. Means what? Like the light merges with the light, or one light becomes one with another light. What is the example we can take to understand? Suppose there is a room which is partitioned in the middle. There is one tube light here, and there is another tube light at the other side of the partition. So this tube light, because of the partition, this tube light is shining in this area, that tube light is shining in that area. Now you remove the partition. What happens? Can you say the light of this tube light is now merging with the light of that tube light? Can you actually see any process of merging? Two people sitting, oh, that is your tube light light, this is my tube light light. You should not study in my tube light, you should not use my tube lights because I am paying electricity bill for this tube light. Can anybody say that? Can you even identify which is the light, where the previous tube light stops and where the new tube light begins? Can you identify? That is how we have to understand this merger of a Jnani with the Paramatma. So any visualization or imagination that we think that after death we will go and merge, the Stula Sharira, the Sushma Shariram and Jivatma will travel in Sadgati and all that, and then go to Brahmaloka and then go to Vishnu Loka, and then they will merge and all that. Beautiful for cinema and drama purposes. Very good entertainment value. You can imagine all that. But in reality, nothing like that happens. It is just, when you see, we say merging and all that, it is just understanding that it was never different, but something happened in between because of the upadhi to make it appear as different. When the upadhi is gone, upadhi vilaya, it becomes the same. That original position is reinstated. As they say, status quo ante is reinstated. That's all. That is how we have to understand this particular sloka. Uh, Nirvishesham Vishnu Vished. That is what it means. Okay. And this is in Dakshinamurti Stotram, this is the same thing which is said. Yat sakshat karanat bhavenna punaravrittir bhavambho nidau. What does he say? When this truth is realized by anyone, that I was never ever different from Paramatma. It was because of avidya, ajnanam, that I was calling myself Jivatma, Jivatma, Jivatma. There is nothing. I was always Paramatma only. Jivatma is just a name I gave to this form of this body, mind, sense complex. That's all. So the one who understands this, one who realizes this truth, he has no repeated births or deaths. That is what this Dakshinamurti Shloka says. Though Punarjanma for him, he is the same in all the bodies. In fact, we can extend this meaning. Not only about me, but everybody else is the same situation. So a jnani's drishti goes beyond this akara, this body, mind, sense complex, this upadhis. He sees Paramatma only in everything and everybody. And that is why he has love and kindness for all. He doesn't see anything or anybody any different from him. All differences are attributed to the upadhi only. So rupataya, there is no difference. So why I should have any raga or dvesha for anybody? Why should I have any krodha against anybody? Or moha for anything? Because they are me only. So this is how we have to bring all these ideas and this thinking in our mind as we progress in this spiritual journey. And slowly, we have to increase this thinking. That is the sadhana which is involved. Right? So he understands that I am no more associated with any individual body. I am Ishvara, which is there in all the bodies. This is what is the meaning of this sloka. Okay. Now we will see the 54th sloka. Yallabhatna paro labho yat sukhanna param sukham yajnanat param jnanam tad brahmetyavadharayet. So, in the earlier sloka, he said the Jivan Mukti becomes one with Brahman. Jivan Mukta. Right? One with Brahman. Brahma Nirvanam Richati from Gita. Now, in these following 4 slokas, that is 53, 54, 54, 55, 56, and 57, this Brahma Swarupam is further elaborated and described by Adi Shankara. And there is a reason why he is doing this. Because if we say Jivan Mukta attains oneness with Brahman, the student will certainly ask, so what? What is the great thing? Okay, I understand all these examples. What you told, Gata Kasha, Mahakasha, Jalam, Upajalam, and Gata Jalam. Oh, very good examples, very nice. So what? What are you trying to tell me? Is the student will ask, right? So one person gets a house and another person will get a piece of land. Another gets some money. This fellow is getting Brahman. So what? What is the greatness about this? So he also gains that Brahman, like anybody else is gaining anything else in the world. Everybody is having their own goals in life. Whenever they gain those goals, like that, this fellow also had a goal of Brahma Jnanam in his life. He has gained that. What is the difference? This is the question they may ask. So you will say Brahma Prapti can be equated to Putra Prapti, Vitta Prapti, Vrishti Prapti. So many things, all this. All our Prapti is only like that. One more Prapti, Brahma Prapti. That's it. Well, when sage Vishwamitra visits the Rama's palace, Rama tells Vishwamitra how happy he was. He says, Yatha Vrishtihi. For example, this has not been raining for a long time and it still rains. How much happy you will be. Similarly, Putra Prapti, a person did not have child for a long time. A couple, suddenly they get a child. How much happiness they will be. A fellow was living in a small house, rented house. Suddenly something happens, he buys a good big house, own house. How much happy he will be. So, like that, this is also one of the praptis, one of the happiness. That is what a student will ask, right? So here, what Acharya is wanting to say is this Brahma Prapti, don't equate it with all other these praptis. It is not the same. Because in every other gain, the satisfaction is momentary for a limited period of time. Whether it is Putra Prapti, Vitta Prapti, or Vrishti Prapti also. Bombay people know this Vrishti Prapti happiness. After a hot summer, when it starts, monsoon comes, they are very happy. Initial few days, that happiness will be there. Then slowly, slowly, they will say, oh my God, it's raining like cats and dogs. Can't move out, can't do anything. Clothes which I wash and put it for drying, 3 days, it doesn't dry. So that momentary happiness which was there when the Vrishti came, changes into unhappiness. And then by the time the monsoon progresses, people start praying, let this rain stop, please. They are waiting for Ganesh Chaturthi to come for the rains to stop. So all these other praptis have a beginning with a happy beginning and a sad ending. Putra prapti also, same thing. All of us know that, so I don't need to elaborate. So, but what Acharya is saying, this Brahma Prapti is nothing like that. Once you are happy, you will continue to be happy. That is what he is saying, emphasizing in this sloka. It is not a fake sense of fulfillment which we get in any other kind of happiness. All other kinds of happiness, even though we say it is happiness, it is sort of a fake happiness. Temporarily, for a little time it lasts. Whereas Brahma Prapti is not like that, he says. Swami Paramatanda gives 2-3 very good examples. Like for example, a small child, when it is sucking in the thumb, it gets some sort of satisfaction. Some happiness is there when it is sucking the thumb. That is why time and again it will put its thumb in the mouth. Some psychological satisfaction it gets, right? And when it is sucking, it will go to sleep also. Mostly children do that. Before sleep, they will start sucking the thumb and then they will go to sleep. What kind of happiness is that? It's just a sort of a temporary fake happiness. It cannot be compared to real happiness. because they don't know what real happiness is. A child thinks that happiness means sucking the thumb. That's all. And that's what we are all doing with this everything in the world. We don't know what is real happiness because we have never experienced the real happiness. And whenever we are experiencing fake happiness, we are thinking that this is real happiness. So there is a false sense of satisfaction we keep getting, right? And when we understand, when the Brahma Prapti within inverted commas, mind you. Again, there is nothing called Brahma Prapti because one who is already Brahman, how he can attain Brahman? Question will come. So Brahma Prapti and all that, Prapti within inverted commas, you must understand, right? That's what he says. Yallabhat na aparaha labhaha. Gaining which there is nothing else to be gained in life. Total satisfaction, Purnatva. Even if he goes after something, after getting Brahma Prapti, they are all pursuits not in search of satisfaction, but they are pursuits with satisfaction. See the difference? Most of our pursuits, which are there, in fact, why most? All the pursuits of a samsari is to gain satisfaction, gain happiness, gain purnatva. Whereas all pursuits which a jnani does after getting jnanam is pursuits with jnanam, with happiness, with purnatva. So he has no expectation at all. He does things as he is required to do depending upon what stage he is. Suppose he is a Madhadipati. He is heading an institution. He will need to do everything that is required to run the institution. But he will be doing all that with the full understanding that Aham Purnaha, I am doing it as like I was doing Karma Yoga earlier before my Jnana Yoga. I am doing it again, the same thing here. If whatever result is there, let it be there. Ishvara will take care. In fact, it is not Ishvara, I will take care, will be back of his mind because he is Ishvara, he knows he is Ishvara. So, this is the difference between a samsari and a jnani. Samsari also does lot of things, jnani also does lot of things. The difference is in the attitude, in the approach, in the expectations. Samsari does with certain expectations, and when those expectations are not met, he becomes a sad person, sorrowful person, miserable person. A jnani does everything without expectation because he is purnaha. Nothing more he gets is going to increase his purnatvam. Purnatvam cannot be increased. Infinite is infinite. He cannot become infinite plus one. So he does everything without any expectation. And then when things happen, everybody around him who are samsaris will be happy. When things don't happen, everybody around him who are samsaris will not be happy. So far as jnani is concerned, whether it happens or it doesn't happen, he will neither be happy nor unhappy. That is how the difference is a yallabha na aparaha labha. Once you have already got what you wanted, what more you can look for? That's what he says, right? So for a jnani, this whole life becomes like a game. He just plays Leela. Like we say, Krishna Leela and all that. What does that mean, Krishna Leela? It's a game for Bhagavan. He just enjoys everything that is there in the world. Everything is a matter of joy only. It is Sampurna Jagadeva Nandavana. Nandati, Nandati, Nandati eva. That jnani. Okay. Then he says, Yat Sukhatna Aparam Sukham. After gaining that Ananda, there is no more Ananda to be gained. Then he says, Yat jnanat na aparam jnanam. After gaining which knowledge, there is no further craving for any more knowledge. That's the ultimate knowledge, param jnana. He has got that. After that, whether he does Sanskrit, of course, he would be knowing Sanskrit, I assume. Whether he does anything or he does studies anything, doesn't study anything, doesn't matter anything, because he already got the highest of the knowledge, which is there, right? Because see, this is a very subtle point Adi Shankara makes. This craving for this knowledge can become a binding thing. There are many people, even when they go on studying, gaining this knowledge, that knowledge, French knowledge, Spanish knowledge. One thing they will finish, take up another thing. Go on doing this without they have no plan. What are they going to do with all these things? So a jnani, through this process of attaining jnanam, understands that there is nothing more to be gained by any other knowledge. All are all laukika knowledges. This is exactly the Vaidika knowledge, the Vedanta knowledge. I have got that. There is nothing higher than that. But that is what he says, right? So, through this knowledge, the person gets full intellectual satisfaction. Like we saw in Atma Bodha. Jignasa nivrittihi vidyananda praptihi. All his questions in the mind which has been bothering him as a sansari has been answered by this knowledge. And because those questions stand answered, there are no more questions left with him. He gets a vidyananda prapti. The ananda which is coming out of this purna, this vidya, this knowledge, which is nothing but makes him understand that he is purna. That is what it is, right? Full intellectual satisfaction. Then he says Tat Brahma. By attaining that which Brahma, all these satisfactions will be obtained. That Brahma is one which is attained by a jiva, mukta. So Brahman is niratishaya labha, niratishaya sukham, niratishaya jnanam, jnana vishaya. Right? So iti avadharaye. This is nirnayam kuryat. May you understand or may you conclude like this. That's what it says. Okay. Good. So now we may ask, okay, three things he has talked about. Labham, Sukham and Jnana. What about all other things? The question. He answers in the next sloka. He says, Yadrishtva na param drishyam yad bhutva na punarbhavaha yajñatva na param nyeyam tad brahmetyavadharayet. Same thought process continuing. We need not spend too much time on understanding these slokas because they're very simple meanings rather. I will just take you through the meanings. And if there are any nice examples which come to my mind, I will tell you also. Yad drishtva na aparam drishyam asti. That having seen which is almost like yajnana, right? The only difference between the previous sloka in terms of jnanam, the pursuit itself, right? In this sloka, it is in terms of the end of the pursuit. Jnanam was uttamam in the previous sloka. In this sloka, jneyam is uttamam, knowing. Right? This is the only subtle difference. So, yat trishtva na aparam drishyam vartate. There is no superior nyeya vastu. Then again, yat bhutva, having become one with Brahman, na punarbhavaha, there is no further becoming, no further birth. Because every other becoming is only intermediary stage. Right? Every other becoming is to become this Brahman in the end. So even when we have lot of punya, Manushya first becomes Deva, Prajapati, Brihaspati, right? Afterwards, he again becomes Sthanu Manye, Anusayanti Yatha Karma Yatha Shrutam. Where do we see that? Sthanu Manye Yatha Anusayanti Yatha Karma Yatha Shrutam. You all remember Kathopadisha. So this process goes on. Even if he become Prajapati, he will again come back only. So it's all this Drishyam process is all intermediary process which are going on till he attains this Jnana, final stage. And that is why, moving from one status to another status are all called samsara. Samsarati iti samsara. Going on up and down, moving, right? And that is why the samsara is called bhava sagara, right? Bhavarnava. We saw that Arnava in one of the earliest slokas. The life of becoming. Today I am a Manusha, I want to become a Deva. I am a Deva, I want to become Prajapati. I want to become Yamaraja. I want to become Surya Devata. All are very fair. You can become all that. But you will still remain in samsara. Okay. Nobody says, I want to become Brahman. You can never become Brahman because you are Brahman. You can become anything else, but you can never become Brahman. That we must understand. Why? Because you are already Brahman. So, Bhavaha means so many, all these things, what I said, And as Puja Swamiji keeps on saying, every other pursuit we undertake in our life, it is always to become something other than what we are already. Isn't it? And we are never satisfied. Unending, unsatisfactory pursuits, all of us engage ourselves right from the time we are born till we die. Till die in the sense our body-mind complex dies. Body dies and mind complex goes out, to be specific. So, all these pursuits are all intermediary pursuits. The final pursuit is what Jnanam, that is the final, what is that called? Paramayanam and Vishnu Sahasranama Bhasha. In the Bhashya. No, in the Bhasha, in the verse, Paramayanam. Right? So, we must remember in every pursuit, this I am converting into a different I, but satisfaction is not there. At some later stage, that I will convert into a different I. So you see, different I's keeps on coming. I the bachelor become I the married person. I the married person becomes I the father. I the father becomes I the grandfather. No, I the father-in-law first. Then I the father-in-law becomes I the grandfather. So I remains the same, but this status becoming business keeps on changing. So what we should do, this relative I which are saying, this should be converted into Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. After understanding the Brahmatvam of myself, there is no more becoming. Brahman cannot further become something, a super Brahman or anything, right? That's why he says Kritatmanaha. Krita Atmanaha Purnatvena Kritaha Atma. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyannatmanyavastitam yatot Yatantopyakritatmano nainam pashyantya chetasah. Bhagavad Gita. Same ideas. Adi Shankara has taken Upanishad, Gita, everything and made these 68 slokas. So whenever we see those words in these slokas, we can remind ourselves of the teachings of Upanishads and Gita. So Atma Bodha is what? Atma Bodha is nothing but a capsule form of the teachings of Gita and Upanishads. That is what is Atma Bodha is all about. Right? So the striving yogis too are able to realize this self enshrined in their heart. The ignorant, whose heart has not been purified, who don't have enough chitta shuddhi, know not this self, they don't know this self in spite of their best endeavors. So this is the sloka which is come, I think, Karma Yoga, Krita Atmanaha. One who has converted the relative I into a Brahman I. He is a Krita Atmanaha. Right? It is only after that that this journey of Bhava will stop. Bhava, yes, will stop. Sarva Dukkadigo Bhavet, he becomes, right? Otherwise, the constant struggle will continue. So, this knowledge, this Purnatvam is obtained only through the knowledge of Brahman. Jnanena yat Brahmam bhutva na punarbhavaha is what it says. Yat jnatva na aparam jnanam, yat jnatva na aparam jneyam. Right. Knowing which there is no other further thing to be known. So, then what he says? Tad brahme avadharete. No, sorry. Yad jnata na param yeyam. Yad bhutva na punarbhavaha, yad drishtva na param drishyam. Tad brahmetam iti avadharete. Right? It is this Brahman which a Jivan Mukta becomes. So, in these last stokas, the Acharya talked about the Swarupa of a Jnani. After obtaining Jnanam, after understanding that he is Brahman, what will be the next stage for him? In essence, he is saying there is no next stage. Because he has attained everything that is to be attained in this life. He will just continue his life as his prarabdha leads. If his jivan, after this jnanam stage when he is living, prarabdha, whatever he does, he will just go with full understanding that I cannot leave this body because of the law of karma. This prarabdha is there, which started when I was a ajnani. Now, even though I got jnanam, I cannot get rid of it. But this prarabdha karma is not belonging to me. It is belonging to this body-mind complex. I am already finished with this. I have no connection with this body-mind complex. But I will continue to live here till I attain this, leave this body-mind complex and yata jale jalam. Right? That's what it's saying. Right? So that is the meaning of this sloka, 55th sloka. Any other subject, actually, if you look at it, mathematics, physics, or anything, it may give some intellectual tripti for a person, right? But what happens is, even though intellectually one may be satisfied, emotionally one may be totally dissatisfied. And this we have observed in so many people. It's a very common thing, very highly qualified people. If you just go near them, you will find how emotionally insecure they are. And that is why Vedanta approaches everything from an emotional point of view, not from intellectual point of view. Gaining this jnanam is not an intellectual achievement. To know what you already are is not a great intellectual achievement, isn't it? There was a person who is a very rich person. He goes somewhere, meets with some accident and loses his memory. Becomes a poor person. After some time, another accident happens. Typically, it happens in all Hindi films and all that, One time hit in the head, loses memory. Something else happens, another person hits in the head, all the memory comes back. When the memory comes back, he knows that he was a rich person always. It was only intermediate period that because of loss of memory, he was thinking that he was a poor person. He has not done anything to attain this richness. He was always rich. Similarly, the Jnani knows is always Brahman. I have not done anything to become a Brahma or know that Aham Brahmasmi. I have only removed the Ajnana. That's all. Which is what is a more important knowledge for happiness rather than attaining, I have got a Nobel Prize here, I have got a Nobel Prize there, I have been awarded this, I have been awarded that, I am such a big person who have achieved this and all that. They may all give you intellectual satisfaction, but they don't guarantee emotional satisfaction at all. And Vedanta, Satchidananda is all about gaining that emotional satisfaction, which is what is Purna. Intellectual level, you can never be Purna. Unless at emotional level you are Purna. And once emotional level you are Purna hai, it does not matter whether you are Purna hai at the intellectual level or not. If you are well and good, if you are not also, it doesn't matter. So these are all things, built into these slokas, these ideas. We have to understand all these ideas. Okay. Right. So now let us go to the next sloka. Very interesting sloka. Tirya Gurdvamadah Purnam Satchidanandamadvayam Anantam Nityamekam Yat Tat Brahmetyavadharaye. Those who know Bhagavad Gita will be reminded when you read Tirya Gurdvamadah Shayi, said there, right? So the last one, which is Tat Brahma Idi Avadharayet, is the same as the previous two slokas. And we have seen this kind of a usage in Kathopanishad also. And the last quarter will be repetition in consequent slokas. Right? No, it is that Brahman. Know that the Brahman Swarupa is that. So, Tirya Urvam Adav Purnam. That is all levels is Purna. Urdvam Adam Urdvam Adaha Tiryan. All are Purnam. So at tower level, middle level, horizontal level, upper level, lower level, every level is Brahman, he is Purnam, who a Jnani, a Jivan Mukta. And Satchidanandam Advayam. These words are all nothing new to us, right? So no explanation is necessary. He is Satchidananda Swarupa and he is Advayam, one and only one, non-dual, right? He is of the nature of pure existence, pure consciousness and pure Ananda, pure joy, superlative joy. At the level of Brahman, and at the level of Brahman, this Purna we saw is called Ananta. Ananta eva Anandam. That also we saw. Individual level Ananda. At the totality level, it is Ananta. And when we discover that Purnatvam in our minds, in our emotional seat, this mind, we get Ananda. It expresses itself, this limitlessness expresses itself as Ananda. So, Ananta eva antakaranena pare, at the level of antakaranam, it is the expression of Ananda. Purnatvam in mind is Ananda. So, Advayam basically no Sajatiya Bheda, no Vijatiya Bheda, and no Swagata Bheda. Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata Bheda Rahitam is Advayam. No difference, right? All three types of differences. And very importantly, we can understand and appreciate this only and only if we take Jagan as Mithya. Because if you give Satyatvam to the Jagat, all three Vedas will walk in. Sajatiya Veda, Vijatiya Veda, and Swagata Veda all will walk in. Then there is no non-duality. All Vedas are there. There is non-duality. Non-duality can be established only if we actually understand Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. That has to be fully, assimilated in our mind. So, the moment we bring in other philosophies, right? If Jagat is Satyam, as I said, there will be Vijatiya Bhedam. Vijatiya means one Chetanam Atma different from another Chetanam Atma. I am different from you. Vijatiya Bhedam has come, right? And that is why in Visishta Advaitam and all, this Vijatiya Bhedam cannot be negated. Because they believe there are as many Atmas, as many people are there. As many living things, beings are there. That's what they believe. Because they are not Advaitam. That's the beauty of their argument, the beauty of what I should say, weakness. They say that Brahma, there was Advaitam before creation. Then during creation, it became Dvaitam. And after the resolution, Pralayam, it will again become Advaitam. This is what their philosophy is. We say that is wrong. What was Advaitam cannot become Dvaitam. What was Dvaitam cannot become Advaitam because that is Swarupa. If at all an Advaitam has to become Dvaitam, it can only become Dvaitam in appearance, not in reality. That is the strength of Adi Shankara's argument when he argues against Visishta Advaita. He says, show me one thing which was one and then it became many. And then again it becomes one. So you cannot bring Vijatiya Bheda into this and then justify, it was Abheda. That even this Krishna consciousness, Abheda Bheda Vada, same thing. They confuse Paramarthika Satyam with Vyavaharika Satyam. And Advaitam cannot be established unless and until we understand through Shruti, especially through Mandukya Upanishad, that this entire Jagan is Mithya. Swapnavat. None of them refer to Upanishads, their own theory, experiential. Because we are experiencing Veda, so that is reality. For them, every experience is a reality. That is the problem. We say that experience need not necessarily be a reality. Take them to a magic show and ask them whether this rabbit which is come out of an hat, from a hat is a reality or not. Let them answer that question. And let them prove it is reality. They won't take up such challenges. So this is the essential difference between Advaita philosophy, which Shankara has taken all the trouble, his own life was devoted for that, to expound that this is the message of the Upanishads. Whatever else you talk is not according to the Vedas at all. Vedas don't say this. Vedas say only one thing. Advaitam is the only reality, Paramarthika reality. That's all. Everything else is mithya. Tattva Bodha, we are seeing those students who are there. Tattva Bodha students, yeah, Rajagopalan is there. Atma Satyam Tadanyat Sarvam Mityeti. Atma ka hai student does, the answer he is giving. Tattva Bodha. So, unless we understand everything else to be mithya, we cannot appreciate this non-duality, this Advaya, which is what he is saying here, Advayam. Right? So, Advayam means what? Anantam, Nityam, Ekam, Deshatah, Kalatah, Vastutah, Paricheda, Shunyam, Yat, Tat Advayam. And it is this Brahman which a Jivan Mukta within inverted commas merges with. That is how this sloka has to be understood. Now I think that if I got 3-4 minutes, we'll read the next sloka and explanation I'll give in the next class on Friday. Atadvyavrittirupena Vedantairlakshyate dvayam Akhandanandamekam yat Tat Brahmetyavadharayet. Now, what here the Acharya is trying to address is a question. He has said all these things like Anantam, Nityam, Advayam, all these things you have said. Deshatah, Kalatah, Vastutah, Paricheda, Paricheda Shunyam. When you say all these things, at the same time you add, this is not something which you can experience, it is not an object. You cannot know this Brahman by any of your 5 sense organs. All these riders you add to this Brahma Swarupa, the question will be, listen, 1 minute, is there anything called this Brahman or it is just your imagination? And then you are making up all these things so that we don't question you. This could be a very, very valid argument. Isn't it? Same thing we say. You say going to Swarga and all. Have you seen Swarga? Who knows? What is the guarantee there is something called Swarga? You are not seen Swarga. Nobody has gone to Swarga, come back and told, I was in Swarga, I enjoyed so much. Nobody has said that. All this Ramba, Urvashi and all you talk about, these are all imaginary characters. Where are they? So, similarly, Brahman also people will say it's an imaginary character. These rishis and all that in meditation, they didn't have anything else to do. So, they imagined one Brahman. And then they said, now people will ask, show me that Brahman. So, you can't show the Brahman. So, you invent all these kind of things. Brahman can't be seen, the Brahman can't be heard, he can't be touched, he can't be smelled, he can't be tasted. He's Nityam, is, Trikalaya Vitishtati, all that you give, and nobody can ask you, so this is what is Brahman is. You have to just understand this. So, people will question, and that question he is addressing in this sloka. We will see the meanings in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you very much, all of you. Any questions?
I have one. This Antapurna, Bahipurna that you explained, I have understood. But the continuation of the sentence, I just want the meaning. Like Antapurna, Bahirpurna, Purna Kumbha Ivarnave, Antashunyo, Bahirshunya, Shunya Kumbha Ivambre. What is that meaning? Because I am reciting without knowing the meaning.
See, that's true. Because what I am trying to do is, if I get into telling the full meanings of
No, I don't know the full meaning. Just
it will
deep
not
meaning,
be
I don't know.
Bodha class, but I will tell you the meaning of this. Antapurna means that which is full inside.
Okay. No, that I have understood.
Means that which is full outside.
Okay.
Just imagine that well water example.
No, that I have understood. The next Purna Kumbha Ivarnave and Antashunyo, Bahishunya, Shunya Kumbha Ivambare. அந்த இதுல வருது இல்லையா பூர்ண கும்பம் கொடுக்கறதுக்கு.
ஆமா correct. So see, if there are two opposite, one is purnatvam, another is shunyatvam.
Okay.
Opposite philosophies, right?
Right.
Both are addressed in this. If you take antapurnam, it is bahipurnam also.
Okay.
If you take antashunyam, bahi also shunyam.
Right.
So what is the essence is, there is no difference between what is inside and what is outside a pot.
Okay.
If you say that's an empty pot, correct?
Yeah.
You cannot say the pot is empty, so there is shunyam.
Okay.
Outside there are a lot of things, because the pot is in the world. What is outside in the world has got to be inside the pot.
Right.
That's why we take the space example. We don't take the example of the objects.
Mm-hmm.
Because objects also exist where in space only.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there is akasha outside and the same akasha is inside also.
Right. Correct.
If you say there is nothing inside, then you have to accept there is nothing outside.
Correct.
Right? You can't say what is inside is different from what is outside.
Right.
That is what, if you take it, antah purnam, bahi also is purnam, antah shunyam, bahi also is shunyam. That is how you have to take the meaning of this particular sloka. As I said, if I start explaining this, then I will have to go and do so many things. But as long as you are able to understand the principle
translation of that word
emphasized in this Atma Bodha sloka, so then our purpose is served. Okay. So wait, let me just see whether I've got any more notes on that. If I just tell you that. Where was that? Where did I put it in my notes? Yeah, Antapurna, Bahipurna, Purna Kumbha, Purna Ivambare. Yeah, so Purna Kumbha Eva Ambare. I mean, whatever is filled with this in the kumbham,
okay,
is what is there in the entire cosmos, ambare, in the whole space.
Okay.
Here the example is basically relating to akasha.
Right.
Right. So what they are trying to say here is, what is there, the space which is there inside this pot is the same space which is outside the pot, and it's the same space which is pervading this entire ambar, this entire akasha. So that is the meaning of this. And if you say there is nothing inside, then the same nothing is there everywhere. That's the
next sentence.
That shunya vada business there. That what comes there. Okay. Any other question?
Okay. Thank you.
Shamshaya Viparita. Viparyaya I cannot change. Shamshaya I can to the best extent. If not there, we'll close the class. Can I?
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om. Then
Yes.
see you on Wednesday.
Mama. Hari Om. Namaskaram.
Hari Om, Mama.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram.